Welcome back, everyone, to Montgomery County's Engage at Home. Our guest today is Sheila Griffith with the Alzheimer's Association. Welcome, Sheila, and would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Lily. Thank you. Yes, my name is Sheila Griffith, and I'm a program manager with the Alzheimer's Association of the National Capital Area Chapter. So I am the Montgomery County person. I work primarily in Montgomery County, and my different job duties are things like overseeing our support groups, our education programs, and different other activities in the county.
It's always a pleasure to be connected with you. You are a terrific supporter of caregivers in Montgomery County. Now, you have quite a lot of programs, as you just gave a brief overview. I'd really appreciate if you'd go in a little deeper, just for the folk who this could be the first time that they're hearing about the Alzheimer's Association.
Thank you. That would be great. We are really always, our outreach is about caregivers and caregivers, especially those who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or any other dementia diagnosis. We're really a one-stop shop at our website, alz.org/NCA. You can find quite a lot about our programming, everything from education programs, learning more about Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, how memory loss can affect people, as well as support services. So we run caregiver support groups throughout the county. I should say everything is virtual right now throughout the county, normally if we were in person, but we have been virtual. These caregiver support groups are just a way for caregivers to come together and share their stories, share their caregiving stories, whether it's caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease or any other type of disease with dementia as a symptom. And so that's how I really come into contact with caregivers, and we really are able to help a lot of our Montgomery County residents who are caregivers.
Thank you. And for all of our viewers, where you found this video in the description, I will be including the Alzheimer's Association's web link, and I'll also be including their 24/7 helpline. Now, Sheila, you spend a lot of time providing support, education, sharing resources with caregivers, and you see them at their highs and sadly sometimes at their lows. Would you like to just share with our viewers really what you see is oftentimes what's normal, and actually how the association provides that support?
Well, that's a great point to make, Lily. Thank you. And yeah, that our caregiver support groups are a way for all of us as caregivers to really share the day-to-day. And it's not only just sharing the day-to-day in a way that is routine, it's a way to alleviate some of the stress we're feeling as caregivers. And I guess that's what I've seen more than anything is I'm contacted by caregivers because they need answers. They are sometimes left with their loved one alone, you know, especially during the pandemic. We've had less services that we can offer. And so we're home alone, maybe with our loved one. And without those other supports and those other resources, it's really been a lot for many caregivers that I've been in touch with. So sometimes in our caregiver support groups and just in our conversations in general, we talk about that it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel so stressed that it's almost like you can't feel good about anything that's happening. And of course, if you're caring for somebody with Alzheimer's disease, this is a devastating diagnosis, and it takes sometimes a long time to get through some of those emotions of any kind of devastating diagnosis like this. But when we're with caregivers, we want to be able to partner with them and really help them move through and move through the journey, the Alzheimer's journey or the dementia journey, but in a way that is being the best they can be, and making their, at some point, a lot of caregivers will ask, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like it's not enough what I'm doing. And so just hearing somebody say it is enough, your best is enough, and that come to this group, and sometimes just hearing me say it might not be enough, but if we can be in a group together with other caregivers who are going through something similar, and hearing their story can make you just feel like you can do it another day. I mean, there's some caregivers that it doesn't even feel like they can do this caregiving, you know, any much longer. And so we try to help them through that and try to really get to the point where the stress level is reducing, giving them strategies and techniques to do that.
And sadly, stress is part of life, and being a caregiver is, you know, it's a lot of balls in the air. And, you know, the Alzheimer's Association can help with, you know, tools and tips and understanding, which is another really big part of it. But it's also that piece, like you just described, which is how to give yourself a break, how to, you know, say to yourself, it's all okay. This isn't a bad situation. It may be stressful, but it's not bad.
I think that's exactly a great point right there, a great tip. Talking about your situation and realizing there's got to be something positive here. You know, we're both home, and we're you know, surviving, and you know, if we're home during the pandemic, but if we feel lost because we don't have maybe the programs we used to join, or the friends or family we used to see, we're still okay. Exactly what you said. Try to find, and that's a technique, try to find some of the positive in this situation. Even in really stressful situations where there might even be a crisis, there's got to be a little bit of positive there. And the way you can do that, if you can do it yourself, to yourself, great. But if you're having trouble with that, talk to somebody, talk with someone, either, you know, friends, family, another loved one, or in our support groups. That's a great exercise there. It's people you don't know maybe well, but sharing your story can really unburden your stress level a bit. And sometimes, this is hard to say, but sometimes when you hear a story that seems worse than yours, that can give you a little bit of relief. Okay, it's not that bad. You know, we're doing okay, or I'm glad to hear about that very, very stressful situation. And I just becoming aware of it, sometimes educating yourself that this is a possibility that, you know, could happen. Just being educated about it can help your stress level, so you're not taken by surprise if there is a situation that develops that you don't see today. But definitely finding the positive, talking about your stress, your feelings of stress to someone else can help a lot. And joining our support groups, as I had said, that also, you know, can help you a lot. And what about addressing recognizing what are the triggers of this stress and addressing them? So trying to figure out what is making us, and sometimes when you're a caregiver to somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, it could be a stressor for them. What's their trigger that maybe, and so that's something we always tell caregivers, is that the emotions you're feeling as a caregiver are always mirrored in your loved one, and the reverses can also be true. Your loved one can be triggered, you know, with this disease, something stresses them out, and then in turn training yourself not to get stressed too. So learning those techniques can be really valuable and helping your day-to-day.
And one of the things that I've learned through my work is that Alzheimer's has some real predictable almost behaviors. And those behaviors of the person with the diagnosis can be non-negotiable for them, but it can also be very frustrating for those that are providing the care, particularly folk who are doing it in the community, in their homes. And you have so many terrific education resources, whether it's going to a session or looking online on the website, that people can start to understand that, particularly when a loved one has maybe some of those repetitive, obsessive type behaviors, that there are ways of helping that person. But also, as you've mentioned, there's ways that then the caregiver can find some calm in amongst maybe some of the frustration.
Exactly. And that's exactly it, is there, this disease, a lot of it is unpredictable. But there are a lot of things that we do see that people have in common with the disease. And so talking about that to caregivers, whether it's behaviors, types of behaviors, many people with Alzheimer's disease, the majority, about 60% usually, will wander away from home or try to wander. So this is a very dangerous behavior that if you're a caregiver and you're unaware that this is a possibility that could happen, think of how much stress and obviously anxiety and danger, your loved one is in. So just by coming to one of our education programs, as you said, or talking to others about this disease, it can really, you can pick something up that you don't even know the question that you'd ask, but you can listen to the story or listen to the tips and techniques. And, I think just speaking about people with Alzheimer's disease and their triggers and some of the predictable behaviors, keeping everybody in a routine. So if somebody who has Alzheimer's disease or dementia, trying to keep them in a routine. And I think a lot of us, maybe through the pandemic, who don't have this diagnosis, we realized that that's probably good for everyone. I did anyway, is that every day can go into the next. And think about when you have a brain disease like Alzheimer's disease, and you're really not aware of time passing maybe, or quite sure what day it is. Keeping it in a routine can really feel good and can really feel stable and help me feel with the disease, with the diagnosis, that things aren't out of control, that I am in control and
Exactly.
I know, what's happening next. So keeping a good routine. And I'd say also keeping physically active as much as you're able to can help those behaviors, those more predictable behaviors that we know are going to happen. Try to stay active. Let's all, and I think that's good for everybody, everybody's stress level and everybody's health.
Absolutely. And this year for National Caregiver Month, we're focusing on renewal. And, what better time for renewal when we're starting to come to the end of the most challenging times of this pandemic. What tips or thoughts do you have for our viewers around that idea of renewal?
Well, I think that's a great thought to give to caregivers and to sort of encourage caregivers through. So if I'm talking to caregivers, I'd say, first of all, address your stress level, educate yourself, develop techniques, develop routines, everything we've talked about. And then be ready and be open to that sort of renewal type feeling. So in your caregiving, I think that's important to be able to not just carry on as usual, as I was saying, every day is like the next, but to feel invigorated. Even though you're caring for a loved one who has this disease, we still need to make the best of every day that we can and every day that we're together. So I think for me, I would recommend in a renewal process, things like, meditation, just relaxation in some ways. We always tell caregivers, try to take time out of every single day for you. The focus is always on our loved one who has this diagnosis and those doctor's appointments and everything else. Take time out for you, for your own relaxation, your own renewal. And it might be just going to your own doctor's appointment. That's a great thing to do for yourself, but it could be taking a walk alone, or having a cup of tea alone, or reading, or meditating, yoga, any of these types of calming activities, I think really give you a chance to probably let your brain renew too, to kind of shut off a little bit and relax. as well as renewing in body as well, and in your caregiving.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the benefit of just having a, sit down, put the feet up, and it doesn't mean it has to be a nap, but close the eyes, maybe put on some music, and just be calm. And for all of us, that's something that it can be so renewing and help to change our perspective of what's happening once we, get back into life. I feel like I want to also get you to just talk briefly about a part of the Alzheimer's Association's supports, and it's the 24/7 helpline. What we know is that for all of us, and particularly for caregivers, everything can be going really, maybe just okay during those waking hours, but it's, in the wee hours of the morning or whatever, that people start to get stressed and they start to really doubt themselves. And I feel like the 24/7 helpline really is a resource that we want people to know about and utilize. So would you just briefly talk about that?
I thank you for bringing it up. And I think our helpline is a great help and a great resource for caregivers. You're right, in the wee hours of the morning or the night, or anytime, 24 hours, 7 days a week, our helpline is open. And it's a national resource that anyone can call. And I know we'll have the number at the end of the program for everybody to see. It's an 800 number. And this phone call is answered by trained staff people with the Alzheimer's Association. So you can call and you can have either just a question, maybe somebody's newly diagnosed and their neurologist sort of made the diagnosis and sent them on their way. And we didn't really pick up everything that happened, or we don't remember what the next steps are if there were some. So these at our 800 number, a helpline number, you can find what should be the next steps with a diagnosis like this. What should I do next as a caregiver? It could even be the person with the diagnosis calling and saying, hey, I was just diagnosed and I need to understand more about this disease. And so this person will be able to tell you more about the disease. But it even goes further. It goes into a lot of what we just said: behaviors, stress levels, what to do when the really stressful behaviors might happen. And there are things where, some people with this diagnosis, Alzheimer's disease or dementia, their sleep patterns might not be, working anymore. So that maybe they're trying to sleep more during the day and they're up all night. And so as a consequence, you're up all night and you want it to stop. You want to know, what can I do? So that's a great question to ask our helpline to try to get assistance right at that point. What can I do? And then sometimes these calls can even go into what we call a care consultation. So it's more than a 10 or 15 minute call just to, get some next steps or to understand how to get local resources. It could be an actual hour-long conversation about how am I going to deal with this? How I'm maybe more in crisis. And a lot of times what will happen is that the person who calls, maybe they're from Montgomery County, Maryland, and they need to know more about our local resources here. And so our 800 number will then refer you to me. And then that's how we locally kind of close the loop there. And I will walk you through the resources that we have here in our county that can be helpful with whatever situation you might be dealing with as a caregiver. So it's a great service and it's free. That's the other thing, is everything we do at the Alzheimer's Association is free of charge. And so we're happy to help in any way we can.
Yeah. And as always, Sheila, we're so pleased to be in partnership with the Alzheimer's Association. So we are near the end of our interview, and I'd like to give you the opportunity to share any other words of wisdom or thoughts with our caregivers.
Well, just that I'd like to say that you're not alone with this disease, with Alzheimer's disease or other dementia. As a caregiver or as a person with the diagnosis, you're not alone. We are here for you. And it may seem overwhelming, it may seem devastating, and there may seem to be no solution to what you're going through. But I want to tell you that there is a solution, and it's to reach out to us, and we'll help you find what you need to get through what you're going, whatever stage you're in or whatever is happening to you as a caregiver, we'll help you through it. So please give us a call or contact us through our website.
Excellent. And as we've said earlier, both the website and the 24/7 helpline will be included in the episode's description where you found this on Engage at Home. So Sheila, this has been wonderful. I really have loved talking with you.
Thank you so much, Lily, and thank you, Engage at Home. I always tell our caregivers, if you want to see something helpful, go ahead and tune into Engage at Home. That's something that you can really find your resources there as well. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So you have been watching Engage at Home, brought to you by Montgomery County. I always like to remind our viewers to be well and stay calm.